Hello, everybody. This is Pastor Willie, and this is the encouraging word for today. You know, when you're in a season of suffering in your life, it's as if you get blinders on your eyes. Those blinders they put on horses so they look straight ahead. And it's almost as if you have tunnel vision and you can't see anything else but the situation you are in. You are, naturally, we all live in the present. And if the present time is a time of suffering, it becomes your world. Your world becomes a 24/7 life dominated by the suffering. Depression is definitely that way. Grief is that way. A high pressure situation that is not being resolved is like that. A relationship even that is very difficult, going through a difficult period, is just like that. Despair is like that. A chronic illness can be like that. And it becomes our world. Our world becomes the suffering that has befallen us, this season of suffering. And that leads to a downward spiral. And you can be sure Satan has a part in that by throwing thoughts of despair, of discouragement, of you'll never get out of this. Nothing is going to change. Nothing is working. He throws those thoughts at us when we are most susceptible to them. And we don't see any future. And so I want to give you today a strategy for overcoming times like that in your life. Because as we saw in yesterday's video, it's normal that there'll be seasons of disappointment, of suffering, of discouragement in everybody's life. It happened to the Apostle Paul, and he writes about it in 2 Corinthians chapter 1. He despaired even of life. He was in that dark, dark room. But he gives us the door to get out of that room. And it's found in 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 10 and 11. Let's give it a listen. He has delivered us, this is Paul speaking of God, God has delivered us from such a deadly peril, and he will deliver us again. On him we have set our hope that he will continue to deliver us as you help us by your prayers. Then many will give thanks on our behalf for the gracious favor granted us in answer to the prayers of many. He begins by saying, he has delivered us. So he's looking back on his life. He's been in other situations of persecution, of great stress, and God delivered him in those situations. So the first strategy is to look back and remember the last time you went through a difficult situation, a season of suffering. God brought you through. It may not be as intense as the present one, but definitely we can all look back to times where God brought us through. So number one is look back. And then he says, he will deliver us again. He's confident in the present situation. He will deliver us again. He did it in the past, and he's going to do it in our life. And we have something Paul didn't have. We have the Bible, so we can see how God delivered Paul, or delivered David, or delivered other people from their season. And that becomes an experience we also can look to. So he looks back, then he's confident in the present that God will do it again. On him we have set our hope. And then he says that he will continue to deliver us. God is a deliverer, so he looks not only at the past, at the present with confidence, but he's looking to the future. The next situation, that God hasn't changed from yesterday, today, and forever. Jesus is the same, and he's going to deliver me in the future, whatever is ahead. And then he mentions, as you help us by your prayers. You can never suffer alone. In one sense, you do suffer alone, but there are people around you, if you're part of the body of Christ, who will pray for you. And prayer is powerful and effective, and it lifts us out of the season of suffering. So as we go to church, as we attend a group where we can say, I'm going through this hard time, pray for me for this situation. And I do that all the time, and people pray for you. So remember the past, be confident in the present. He will deliver you. Reject Satan's negativity. Be positive, be confident, and set your hope for the future. And finally, I want to close with something somebody told me when I was going through probably the worst period of suffering and depression and anxiety and just everything upside down in my life. I don't know if somebody told me or I read it in a book. It said this: you will not always feel like you feel right now. And knowing that, and I actually wrote it down and pasted it to my mirror, you will not always feel like you feel right now. That, my friends, gave me hope to endure the season of suffering, because God had delivered me in the past. God will deliver me in the present, so I can be confident, and he will deliver me no matter what the future holds. So I hope that encourages you today. Have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday.